Hey everybody, welcome to Straight Jacket White Rabbit. I'll be your host Adam, taking you down the rabbit hole as we explore the supernatural side of mirrors. Just a quick note today, guys. I was suffering from laryngitis all week, so I'm kind of losing my voice in and out. Anything that I notice, I will repeat if I dip out in my voice while I'm speaking, and I will repeat it so you guys can hear it. So I appreciate you bearing with me. So without further ado, let's get into it. Mirrors, you guys, have been a spiritual, paranormal, supernatural gateway and that people have known about since prehistory. And that's, it's all throughout known history since the Romans, the Greeks, and before them. A lot of people believed any reflective surface in prehistory was a reflection of soul, and it was not to be mistreated. It was something to be respected and used with caution. That includes, shined up bronze and silver plates that were reflected, pretty much any reflective surface back then. So why do we associate mirrors with the dead? A lot of people in history, you guys, throughout time have claimed that they can see through the veil. They can see deceased loved ones. They can see things they didn't intend to, demons, monsters, ghosts of people they don't recognize. This all boils down to your will, guys. It's just like using a Ouija board. Okay, you're focusing intent to communicate with the other side. The only difference is a lot of people believe that mirrors give the other side a communication tool to use to come through to our world. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I do tend to believe that there is we'll call it a portal to the veil that you can open in mirrors. It's all about intent, you guys. Not every mirror is a portal, but every mirror could be a portal depending on your intent. Like I said, it's just like a Ouija board. If you walk around and you play with a Ouija board and you're not intending to do anything and you're not really focusing on it, it's probably not going to work. It's when you focus, when you put that energy out into the universe, that you're willing to communicate with these things, that they try to communicate back. People have been using mirrors forever they do something called a psychomantium. Psychomantium, for those of you who don't know, is a small room, usually blacked out. There's usually like black curtains hung on all over the walls. There's usually about one chair, maybe two, and a small table with a mirror on it. The mirror is usually not facing the person in the chair. It's facing a black part of the room, but at an angle where the person in the chair can still see the reflection of the black room. And then they focus intently on the mirror and ask it questions, try to communicate with things on the other side. The only problem with this, guys, is you have to remember not everything on the other side is something that wants to communicate with you for a good reason. There are monsters in the veil, guys. There are demons in the veil. There are things there that have been there since time immemorial. There are dark entities in the veil, in that dimension, that people really shouldn't mess with. That being said, if you're into the paranormal, things like psychomantiums or scrying can be really fun and interesting activities. Just make sure you're prepared. The reason people do a lot of things with mirrors is because of superstition, but they're all based in some fact or some lore that started for a reason. Like, I'll give you an example. Covering up mirrors after people die. It is believed that within 3 days of passing, for the first 3 days of passing, you're supposed to cover up all the mirrors where the deceased person died, because their souls can be sucked through the mirrors into this realm, the spirit realm, and trapped there. Now, I don't know if it traps you there. I'm not a ghost, obviously. But it's an interesting thing because this is something that has been displayed in many societies throughout our world, not just one or two places. And mirrors have spawned a lot of legends about things like this. Bloody Mary, one of the most popular urban legends ever. A lot of people have gone and done deep dives on Bloody Mary. I'm not going to do that. There's too many, you guys, there's too many backstories with Bloody Mary to ever really know who she was. There's stories of her being, I believe it was a queen in England, who was beheading and killing lots of rebels and things of that nature. There's beliefs that Bloody Mary was a woman who was murdered behind a elementary school in Pennsylvania back in, I don't want to say the wrong date. I'm going to have to check on that. But a lot of people believe it was her. Bloody Mary has a lot of origin stories, guys. I mean, there's literally, I mean, like, there's an origin story for Bloody Mary for pretty much every person that's ever looked into it. They all have their own theories on who she is. I happen to believe that there is a Bloody Mary and that she is what you would refer to as either a demon. And if she's not a demon, then she is what you would call a vengeful spirit. Vengeful spirits are spirits who are angry about either the way they passed, things that were done to them, wrongs that were done to them, or wrongs they believe were done to them. It doesn't even have to necessarily be that everyone agrees it was wrong. Maybe they just feel wronged or slighted in some way. But these spirits get angrier over time because they are trapped in this realm without being able to move on where they want to go because they are so fixated on the fact that they were wronged while they were alive. In a lot of cases, they were. Murder victims, things like this can all become vengeful spirits, you guys. Now, as far as other things you can do in a mirror, scrying is a fun thing to do. You don't need a dark room with sheets and all that for scrying. All you need is a mirror, a camera, and the ability to dim the light. Or turn off the light, light a candle. You take photos in the mirror. One of the ways to do this is taking photos of the mirror as you look at it in a dimly lit room, and sometimes you can get glimpses of what they call spirit faces. Random faces will appear in your mirror. Sometimes they're not random. Sometimes they're family members. People have claimed to see family members show up into their mirrors. Other times people say that they've contacted demons. A few examples actually to speak about, well, they called them dark entities, but I'm going to call them monsters. There's not just demons and spirits in the other realm, guys. There are monsters in the other realm, and some of which are older than us and older than people. So, as always, be forewarned. If you're going to do something that gives you the appearance of the intent to try to communicate with these things, you cannot always turn that off. So just before you guys ever try something like this, make sure you want to speak to the other side. Sorry about that, the other side. One of my other favorite things about mirrors, I'm going to go ahead and start with, let's see, where is it? No. Divination, there we go. Okay, divination practices with some believing that they can reveal the future or appearance of a future spouse. Now, seeing the future and seeing who you're married to in the future, I never heard the married one before I was reading up on this. I have heard the future sight one. Now, divination is people who use mirrors to try to see faraway places or see future events. Sometimes people claim they can see past events. My belief on divination is different from scrying in the fact that I believe it takes more than your willingness to communicate. I believe that divination takes a slight degree, at least, of psychic ability. And people who do things like remote viewing, things like this, are going to be able to use a mirror to do divination, to see faraway places, to see future events, things of this nature, which is kind of cool, man. I really wish I was able to do that. Like I said, I am very open to the spiritual realm, but I am not in any way claiming to be a psychic. I am a sensitive. I can feel spirits around me. But no, I cannot see the dead all the time. I'm not Haley Joel, okay? I see dead people. But people with psychic abilities have claimed to be able to see future events using mirrors and concentration and meditation, which is just, I love that. I mean, I've read some declassified documents from the U.S. government, guys. We used to do experiments on remote viewing, and a lot of these people were fairly accurate. They were accurate to a surprising degree. Now, I don't know that our test results from our government on things like remote viewing will ever be brought to the public, but I'm going to tell you right now, there have been leaked cases, and there have been leaked cases where people have looked at far, far away places, other continents, even other worlds, the moon, you guys. The U.S. government legitimately paid people, psychics, to try to remote view the moon and certain coordinates on the moon. Now, why does our government care about certain coordinates on the moon? That is a story for my previous post about the moon and bases on the moon, alien presence of the moon, and the possibility of the moon itself being artificial, kind of a space base. Now, whether or not you believe that about the moon, like I said, our U.S. government has actually had programs using remote viewing and divination. So obviously they believe in it enough to at least test these theories, and they were shocked about the results. Some of these people claimed to see aliens. Some of these people claimed to see spirits. Some of these people claim to see themselves in the future. Another cool thing about mirrors I wanted to bring up is mirrors in horror movies, guys. Mirrors in horror movies are used because it's a reflection of self. It's all about vanity in horror movies for the most part. Mirrors, for a large part in horror movies, are used to express self-interest or vain actions. I don't believe that has a connection necessarily to the spirit world. I think it's an interesting fact. As far as getting back to the topic about souls and reflections, things like that, like I said, I do believe it's entirely possible to not just get people or demons. I believe you can actually scry monsters. And I'm not talking about Cthulhu or anything like that, but, psychic vampires, werewolves, many creatures that I do believe are real or were real at one point and have either been eliminated or only exist now inside of the spirit world. Now, why do people have such nervous energy when you face two mirrors together? I don't know if you've ever seen this. If you have a medicine cabinet next to a full-length bathroom mirror and you open the medicine cabinet mirror to go near the other mirror, it'll show you what appears to be a stretched out portal. Now, you can get this effect by using any two mirrors together, but a lot of people believe that when you do this, it strengthens the connection that these beings are able to make through our world, and it actually makes it easier for them to come into our world through these mirrors. Once you've opened up a mirror to this, it is not always possible. It is possible, but it's not always possible to close this gateway. You guys, by focusing your energy, it's like I said a minute ago, it is just like a Ouija board. Focusing your energy on this, you guys, makes it a portal. You have to know how to close the portal properly, and that doesn't always work. I know people who have tried, and they've ended up just breaking the mirror instead. There's a reason breaking a mirror, you guys, is supposed to be 7 years bad luck. I believe it was the Greeks. You can let me know if I'm wrong. It's either the Greeks or the Romans, but the Greeks or the Romans believed that when you broke a mirror, the reason you got the 7 years of bad luck is because that was the time it took the spirit that was in that mirror at the time, the reflection of whatever spirit was in the mirror at the time, to regenerate itself, to come back together, to basically recombine all of its essence to be what it was before you broke the mirror. Basically, it's, I don't want to say death for a ghost because they do eventually come back, but it is said to temporarily distort that spirit. And until that spirit is all the way back together, you're cursed with bad luck. Now, bad luck, or is it a spirit following you around doing these things because it's mad that you broke its connection to its world? A tethering point, if you will. Now, a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, why is it that I've never seen a ghost in the mirror? People look in the mirror every day. It's intent. How many people a day do you really know that look in the mirror while they're brushing their teeth or doing their hair and are thinking about communicating with spirits, communicating through the veil to the other side? Because my guess is it's not going to be a lot. I don't know about you, but I'm not brushing my teeth before, or I'm not brushing my teeth after I eat cornflakes and thinking about trying to scry the dead people in my life. So it's all about intent. If you intend to do this, you can make it manifest. Just like I'm a firm believer in life, guys, you put energy out there and you can make things happen. Humans have this ability. We have kept it inside for forever. Some people are able to unlock it, some people aren't. But we do have this ability to manifest things through pure force of will. Okay, that's how people believe tulpas are made. Uh, Certain magnifying images in spiritual lore can actually, I'm going to say runes, certain markings can magnify thought. And it's believed that if you focus on these things while you're focusing on a particular topic, you can actually bring things into reality. I don't know if I tend to believe that you can bring anything to reality. I do believe that there are a lot of things you can influence on strictly your sheer force of will. Um, that being said, you can communicate with not just bad spirits, guys. I encourage those of you who want to communicate with a loved one or something. Try this. It doesn't always work, but it is interesting when it does. It takes time, it takes breathing, it takes almost a meditative state. You've got to calm, breathe, and focus on an objective very clearly while being focused on the mirror, taking pictures, recording, or just standing there if you don't want to take pictures or record and looking deep into the mirror. I suggest for scrying that you look directly into your own eyes and try your best to keep your gaze fixed in one spot on your own eyes. Just because it tends to put people in a more relaxed state, a more trance-like state, where you're more easily able to communicate with the things on the other side of this veil. Mirrors is some great stuff, you guys. I am going to cut this video short here in a few minutes because I don't want to lose my voice completely. I got a video I want to try to put out tomorrow. But I wanted to bring this up to you guys because I really do find it a fascinating subject as far as scrying and all of this goes. Now, today, a lot of people do not practice the covering of mirrors after a death. I believe this is a mistake, you guys. I do believe that there's a lot of different lores on what pulls spirits into the mirror. Some people say that it's demonic entities or things from the other side trying to force them back across the veil. Some people believe it's just like a magnet. It attracts these spirits close to them, and when they're near the mirror, they're sucked into the other dimension. I call it another dimension, you guys, beyond the veil, whatever you want to call it, on the other side. I do believe we should still have that as a practice. I absolutely 100%. If I pass away, I want everyone covering mirrors around where I died for at least 3 days until my body is buried under the earth or cremated. The reason for this is it's said that after the body is in the ground or the body has been cremated and given its funeral rites, that your spirit is free to move on where it wants. A lot of people don't understand this concept because a lot of people are rooted specifically to one thought of the afterlife, be it because of religion or personal beliefs. I believe when you die, you get a choice. I believe, unless you are a very, very evil person, that you get a choice on where you want to go. I believe that whatever entities are sucking spirits into these mirrors, or whatever natural cause sucks these entities into the mirror after death, I believe it eliminates that choice for you. I believe at that point these spirits are stuck in the veil instead of able to move to and from through it. The veil is not an open pass, guys. You need doorways to communicate. Doorways are made by us. For the most part, they are not made by them. They can be, if the entity is strong enough, they can make a portal to come to our world. But we are the ones 90% of the time who create these doorways. And they're all over the world, man. People make them all the time and don't close them because they don't know how or they don't know to do it. That's why there is so many haunted mirrors. There's urban legends from almost every state in the US, guys, about mirrors. Somebody died and you can communicate with that person who died down the block from you. Um, school shooting victims. There's been so many different cases of people believing that these mirrors in their state reflect certain things. I literally believe that that's because those spirits are just waiting for a doorway to come through. Now, when these people create a doorway and they don't close it, what happens to that mirror? Sometimes it gets thrown out, sometimes it gets sold or given to a family member or a friend, and it just kind of moves around and gets shuffled from home to home. And people lose track of this stuff. You don't know if you're getting a used mirror from, say, Goodwill. You don't know what someone's done with that mirror in the past. That mirror could be a doorway to another dimension. It could be a doorway beyond the veil, which is another reason why I tell people don't buy used mirrors. Used mirrors can be very, very, very big problems in your household. They can cause hauntings, they can cause demonic attacks. If these things were used as a doorway and they were not sealed properly, these things have a free pass to come through. So, try it out if you're interested. Or if you've heard any other myths, urban legends, anything like that about mirrors, let me know. I'd love to hear more about it. These things fascinate me. Like I said, I am a very big advocate for the spirit realm coming through mirrors. Like I said, I do believe it is more to do with the fact that we opened a portal through sheer will, like a Ouija board. You're putting it out there that you're willing to communicate, and these things jump on that. But for now, I'm going to call it a night, and I want to thank each and every one of you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, you guys. It really means a lot to me that you guys have taken to me as well as you guys have and helped me out as much as you guys have. Everyone coming from my brother's channel, J Dreamers, I want to tell you guys I appreciate every one of the Good Vibe Tribe. I love each and every one of you guys. You guys have been amazing to both my brother and me. And to all the new people here, man, if you like what you see, I'm going to be pumping out content for years. I plan on going through all kinds of stuff. So stick around and stay tuned for more stories from Straight Jacket White Rabbit. Have a good night, guys.